Well, they likely will, Matt, and that's because trouble started pretty early yesterday morning when Downing Street, the office of Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister in the UK, they leaked an account of a phone conversation between himself and Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, in which the British side said she essentially called a deal based on the current position of the UK impossible. The pound, as you might imagine, took a bit of a dive on the back of that news and fell pretty significantly over the few hours following that. We then also had a visit of the Italian President of the European Parliament to the UK. He came out after his meeting with Boris Johnson in Downing Street, had a pretty scathing analysis of the conversation and the British position with just 3 weeks to go until that October 31st deadline. Take a listen to what that Italian parliamentary president said. It's David Sassoli is his name.
As I told Prime Minister Johnson, the European Parliament will not agree to a deal at all costs. We will not agree to a deal that undermines the Good Friday Agreement and the peace process or compromise the integrity of our single market.
So yesterday, the Institute for Fiscal Studies, an impartial think tank in the UK that's highly respected when it comes to the economic side of things, they had some analysis out on what a no-deal Brexit would look like. And this, of course, is a course of action that Boris Johnson insists he would still like to take. The deficit in the UK would double, we'd see a recession next year, and the country's debt would balloon to a 50-year high. Across the Irish Sea, the Republic of Ireland's government, well, their finance minister had his latest annual budget out yesterday. And in that budget, they called for more than €1 billion of extra spending to try and cushion the blow of a potential no deal. They're calling that their baseline assumption at this point. Leo Varadkar, the Irish Prime Minister, he talked to RTE, the local broadcaster, last night about a 45-minute phone call conversation he had with Boris Johnson. And he said, I just want to bring you some of this language. It's quite extraordinary. He talked about the fact that it'll be very difficult to secure an agreement by next week, quite frankly. And of course, that's when European leaders will be meeting in Brussels to try and hash out the final details. And quote, the UK has repudiated the deal negotiated under May. Problems that he said with consent of Northern Ireland, that's part of the proposals from the UK about how Northern Ireland can agree to long-term regulatory alignment with the rest of Europe. And he said when it comes to customs, there is still, quote, quite a wide difference. So Matt, you get a sense there of how far apart these two sides are with just a few days until that very key council summit in Brussels next week.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.